Ladies and gentlemen, the Wrestling Fans Podcast Ringside Society proudly presents to you another impressive episode of 15 Minutes of Fandom. That's right, that's where we take the spotlight and put it on that one wrestling fan that we feel stands out from the crowd. With that being said, I am your host, that ocean crossing, straight up bossing, flight catching, shot glass snatching, always positive, life is great, repping 592, living in the 718, no cap, straight facts, the worldwide star boy, Remy Blue. And our special guest tonight is a young lady, a very talented young lady. So here's the thing. She's actually a new wrestling fan. So we're going to fill her in on what it is and what's up with pro wrestling. If you saw her, if you recognize her, that's right. She actually took part in season 1, episode 1 of Barmageddon, which is hosted by country great Blake Shelton, hot new country artist. Well, not so new, but also country artist Kane Brown, and of course, former WWE Divas champion Nikki Bella. And I would be remiss not to mention, Carson Daly, a man who actually used to host MTV TRL back in the day.
I'm like, none of the kiddos know who that is or what that is.
Everybody, welcome to the show, singer, songwriter, Chisa.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for being here.
Great. Chisa, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. Admittedly, I felt better. I got a little sick after the premiere party, but that's okay. That's what happens when you party too hard.
Hey, we're glad to hear that you're feeling better. I must say that congratulations on getting that, opportunity to actually be on national TV and compete. Although it was for kind of like the wrong reasons, because they were like viral sensations, and I was like, man, I mean, it is what it is though. But
have you seen the video prior to Barmageddon?
I mean, pardon?
Have you seen the video prior to Barmageddon, or was that your first time seeing?
It was my first time seeing it. Hey, if it's any consolation, that's impressive. I can't do a back bend. I'm at least I think I can, but I'll probably have to get some Bengay and pop you on ibuprofen afterwards. Because I'll be like all like the Tin Man from Wizard of Oz. So
yeah. I looked more like a swamp monster after I got fished out of the river, but yeah, the Tin Man works too.
Yeah. So what was it like being on like Barmageddon and getting to compete and everything? Were you nervous? I mean, you had like two musical greats, one guy who hosted a show about music, and you had, of course, Nikki Bella, reality TV star and former WWE Divas champion and WWE Hall of Famer. What was it like being in the midst of all of those remarkable people?
I mean, honestly, Nikki had me the most shook just because she's like an actual goddess in the flesh. Like, I felt so bad because I could not stop staring at her. And I didn't know who she was when I showed up, and I watched her wrestling reel after, and I was like, oh, I can't believe nobody told me who she is. I can't believe I didn't know, but I had literally never watched a single wrestling match prior to me looking her up. So I am obsessed now, and it is crazy what these girlies be doing in the ring.
Oh, man.
Did you see the match before the episode last night?
I've seen many of her matches.
But no,
open your mind.
It was like Nikki Cross or something, like the one that was on right before Barmageddon aired. That.
Oh, the one with Nikki Cross, Alexa Bliss, and Becky Lynch.
Yeah, that was crazy. Are they all that insane?
Oh, you don't even. Oh man.
I need you to send me a top 10 women's wrestling moments compilation, because I need to be educated.
What I will do for you is this. I will recommend, so WB, definitely WWE, check it out. I highly recommend it. Those girls have actually upped their game. There's Becky Lynch, there's Bianca Belair, who is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
There's also Bailey, who's there too. Mm-hmm. There's Nikki Cross is actually, getting back to how she was, where she had that whole like crazy character and whatnot. Before she was a superhero, but now she's all crazy.
Oh,
Um,
character
so
art.
WB, I don't know if you know, but there's three. It's separated into three brands. There's Raw, which aired right before Barmageddon,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's SmackDown, which is actually this Friday at 8 o'clock, which will be which will be I take it 5 o'clock your time. You're in California, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And then there's also actually right after that, there's also Rampage. But Rampage is another company. We'll get into that a bit. Uh, there's also NXT, which airs Tuesday. So that aired like the day after Barmageddon was on. It was on USA as well too.
Mm-hmm.
The girls over there are pretty crazy as well too. Very athletic. Man, yeah,
It's always
I'd
like
say it's not always like that. Then there's AEW, which is the other wrestling promotion.
Mhm.
Um, AEW has people like there's this one there's the champion Jamie Hayter. There's also well, she used to be known as Paige in WWE, but she's now known as Saraya in AEW, and she had a movie about her family called Fighting with My Family because her whole family is like they're all wrestlers.
Oh man.
So I'd say start with WWE and AEW,
All right.
and
All right.
then you're gonna see there's others. And it's all over the world. There's people in Australia. There's women in Australia that are doing it big too.
Mhm.
There's women in Canada, Mexico, even Japan. I take it. I don't mean to sound.
No, I've
Uh,
seen sumo wrestling. If that's what you're about to ask next, I definitely had a childhood of watching that. I think I got more of that than I got like the WWE side.
which one? Which one you see?
Sumo wrestling.
Oh, okay. Well, it's not like that.
It's a way different ball game. Like, and I would much rather watch WWE girlies. Trust me. Like men in a thong looking thing versus like like actual goddesses in the flesh.
If I may ask, I don't mean to be offensive at all. Are you by any chance like half like Japanese?
Yeah, actually, so I'm half Japanese and then German, Irish, and Native American.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Japanese have wrestling too. There's one called New Japan Pro Wrestling,
Mhm.
and then there's also Stardom. The women over there are they're even crazier. Like they go above and beyond, and it's just
Yeah.
um like the girl you saw on Raw on I think you probably saw her in that match. The one that was Japanese. She
Mhm.
interfered in the match. That her name is Io Sky.
Mhm.
But in Japan, they know it's Io Shirai. So when you get signed to WWE, they give you a name most of the time.
Mhm.
You can't use your indie name or your regular name that you had
Oh,
before.
you need a stage name, man. Come on, it's part of the game.
So Io Shirai was from Japan, and yeah, she's just an example of how like athletic they are and how daring they are over there and so on.
Yeah,
So
they take a beating. Holy cow.
I must say though, I was stationed in Japan for 3 years. Man, I don't know if you've ever been there, but it is phenomenal. I was in Sasebo for like 3 years, but I went to places like Fukuoka, Tokyo, and my personal favorite now. Tokyo is great, but my personal favorite, Osaka. I
Yeah.
love it there. Oh man, every time I leave there with a smile on my face because I eat so much, great food and
Gained so much weight on my last trip to Japan, so I feel you. Actually, I think food wise, the best region to go to is Hokkaido. They are just like really on top of their cheese game, and anything like cheese or like cream flavored, it's to die for. It's so good.
Hokkaido is how far is that? Is that in another prefecture or is it?
I'm not exact. I'm pretty sure it's up north. It's kind of. I'm pretty sure it's like the island. I know the whole nation's like an island, but I think it's like the top corridor.
Okay. Yeah, I've been to Tokyo. I'm gonna go back eventually because I want to experience a Sapporo winter. Um,
Gotta go to the onsen. I heard that's like an unparalleled experience.
yeah, Osaka reminds me. I don't know if I've been. I don't know if you've ever been over here to New York,
Mhm.
but you've been to Central Park. I take it, right?
Uh-huh.
And I take it you've been to Osaka Castle, or the actual compound that Osaka Castle is in.
No, I actually have no idea what you're talking about. You're gonna have to enlighten me on that too.
So Osaka Castle's in Osaka, and there's like with the it's like in like a bit of a park now.
Hmm.
It's like a huge park, and when I go there, It reminds me so much of Central Park because I'm like, wow, like it's all like nice and warm over here, and it's all spacious, and you can actually have a picnic there and everything, or just put a picnic blanket down and just relax and read a book. That's the kind of vibe I get
Which
from.
is pretty much the entire opposite vibe of New York, as I know it, anyways. But because there's a place in Central Park that's like that, you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there definitely is. Yeah. So so definitely check it out. WBAW. Those are the two you definitely want to check out as well. But
Sure.
you're also a musician. I heard Sleepless in Seattle.
Thank you
I
for
like it's catchy.
listening. Thank you.
When it
Yeah, that's
was
my newest single I just released, I think on November 1st. It's been a little over a month that it's been out. I wrote and produced and played mostly instruments on it myself. You're
Woo.
actually looking at my studio right now. I just make everything out of my room over here in LA.
Yeah, that song is catchy. I wanna be sleepless in Seattle with you. I'm like,
Yes,
it's
bestie.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to butcher this song, but I was like,
No,
yo,
you're not so good. I think we should remix it. We should do a Remy Blue remix and you should sing on it. I think you did a better job than I did.
if you want to, I'm down. I mean, I
Just
used to sing
another excuse to go to New York. There's some French fries there that are calling my name. I don't know if you know where Pomme Frites is, but that is my one stop in New York every time I go.
Bomb Freaks.
Yeah, it's right off of Washington Square Park. It's like this German style fry, and they have like 30 different dipping sauces, and I lose my
Oh
itch.
my gosh. Now you're gonna make me I am a foodie at heart. Like I love to try different places. I just went to a actually one of my new favorite Chinese restaurants in Chinatown. It's called Wafeng Number One,
Mhm.
and I just got not only is the food delicious, it's very affordable. Like I just got it yesterday, and it was for dinner, and I got a large duck and pork over rice,
Mhm.
steamed rice with some cabbage, for $8. I
Oh,
was like, wow, that is
wow. That
yeah.
is like meanwhile a side of rice in any restaurant in LA is like $8.
Wow. I know LA could be a bit I used to go to LA every now and then. I've been to like Southgate. I like the Chinatown over there because the Chinatown is less um it's less like complicated as New York is like a bunch of blocks and twists and turns. Chinatown is like one long street and
You're like between here and here and here and here. Yeah.
everything you want is on that one street.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's just I just like I just like that's one of my favorite places I like to stay near because you got the train station right not too far, the
Mhm.
U station. Yeah. So
Have you been to the night markets in Chinatown?
in LA,
Yeah.
I have not.
That's what you need to hit up next time you're out here. I think it's on like Tuesday nights or something. It's during the summer, but I've driven past it. I've never personally gone myself. I used to be an Uber driver and I dropped some people off there who said I needed to go because it just seems like poppin', man, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I've never seen the Walk of Fame. I've never gone there.
You don't need to go to
I,
Hollywood.
yeah, because so I drove a friend of mine drove me past there. So here's a funny story I'm gonna tell you. So and like I said, for those listeners listening or watching, I don't mean to be offensive at all. You know, I'm not that kind of person. But there was this one time I was going up for a wrestling match, and I was following Google Maps, and it was telling me catch this bus, catch that bus, and whatnot. And actually, one of my friends, she was on that. Well, past friends, she was on that card. So I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and check it out and see. So I'm doing everything that Google Maps is telling me, and lo and behold, like I actually was hopped on one bus, and I was the only black person on that bus, and I'm like, oh geez, please don't let me get jumped.
LA, that's surprising.
I'm like, yeah, I'm like, please don't let me get jumped. I'm just trying to see my friend wrestle, please, you know. So I end up getting there safely.
That's good. That's good.
I got me a hotel. I powered the fat because when I think of LA, I thought of like gangs and Bloods and Crips and whatnot. So I'm like scared. I'm like, yo, I mean,
I'm like, I'm
I
shaking in
don't,
my boots. I gotta get out of here. I got a blue shirt and I gotta go.
yeah. So I didn't wear any of those colors, but still, I was like, okay, after this show, I'm gonna get to my hotel and just lock the doors and don't say nothing. Just go to my bed. And I
Mhm.
did exactly that. So then when I went back to my because I was there with the Navy. When I went back to my base in uh Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, I told one of my friends that I met. I told her she's from there. I'm like, yeah, I went up there and I told her the whole story. And she laughed and she was like, okay, come back up here. I'll pick you up from LA Union Station and I'll show you around. And she showed me like the Hollywood sign, the park there, the observatory. She actually we passed through Hollywood and she was like, this is Hollywood. I'm like, this is Hollywood. This is like Times Square.
I'm honestly, you want to talk about smackdowns? Every time I go to Hollywood, I feel like I see like an all-out brawl happening, like every single
Really?
time without fail. So, and this is like as an Uber driver, like I'm out like crazy hours of the night, so I've seen some shit down there.
Woo. Okay.
It's definitely on some Times Square business. I think I'd rather go to Times Square than Hollywood and Highland.
That's the first time I ever heard that because then again, Times Square is not as bad as it used to be. From
Mhm.
what I heard, it was bad back in the 80s and the 70s, but now it's like it's pretty cool. I mean, you got some people that want to scam you, but other than that, I mean, it's either like you fall for it or you don't. If you don't fall for it, they're not gonna like force you to do anything. It's
Right. It's that East Coast hustle. You gotta like respect it and just like put your blinders on and you're like, whatever, not me, bro.
yeah. So, um, what match did you see for like Nikki Bella and Brie Bella? Like, did you just see like one with Nikki Bella, or was it?
Honestly, well, I didn't even know she was a twin till later. I'm like, how you're already like so gorgeous as one person. I can't imagine there being like two people walking around with that much like power. But I just watched Nikki's reel and I like had to figure out what a rack attack was. And as soon as I saw that, I was floored. I was done. I was like, oh my god, this woman.
So she used to ah, so when the Bella Twins, as they were known, they were a bit of a tag team, but they never held the tag team titles because the tag team titles didn't exist at that time. But
Mhm.
Nikki Bella, some people say she got that from her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend, John Cena,
Oh, I didn't
who,
know she dated him.
yeah, they dated for a bit. Yeah, I didn't want to like act like I
Give the whole lore away before I like get a chance to dive in myself.
yes, Nikki Bella dated the Peacemaker, um, John Cena, and how they did it in WWE, and of course Brie Bella, her sister, is dating Brian Danielson, who's another wrestler, great wrestler by the way. And but Nikki, how they had her dressing in like the alternative to like the female. She had her attire was like the female alternative to John Cena's, and John Cena used to wear these jean shorts, sneakers, and that's how he wrestled. And she wore something similar to that.
Yeah, you're
So
very like street style. I saw that. I respected it. She looks so freaking good in it. Yeah, I literally cannot understate how beautiful that woman is in person. And like also so professional. I didn't know she'd never hosted anything until Barmageddon. Let me tell you, she had me entirely fooled. Like she was so professional, so good. I actually had to tell her, I was like, dude, you were like the best hostess I've ever seen. You make this look easy. Like this is crazy.
yeah, but definitely, I definitely enjoyed that episode. It was the first episode, and I was like,
Thank
yeah,
you for tuning in. I appreciate it. I hope you got some laughs out of it. That was the most fun I've ever had in my life,
yeah.
hands
Some of that stuff I heard, I was like, yeah, this definitely sounds like stuff that people would say at a bar. But yeah, it was very enjoyable. So the music career, man, how long you been into music?
Well, I first started writing songs when I was 15. That's about when I started playing guitar. But my very first like start into music, my grandma was a jazz singer, and my first performance was at like her retirement home, and I sang like a Hillary Duff song, just like to a crowd of old people. And I think from there on, I was just like hooked, man. And then, yeah, I was always in like choir and stuff. I learned how to play flute in 4th grade, and then I learned how to play French horn and then saxophone. And then I taught myself guitar in high school, and then I taught myself piano. And then I taught myself drums over COVID. So that's my newest like instrument that I've added to my roster.
You like Prince, girl? What?
I guess. I think it must be a Gemini thing then, because, yeah, I definitely.
That
Jack
is
of all trades,
impressive.
master of none.
Hey, I gotta I gotta give you a round of applause for that because that is impressive. Like piano, guitar, drums, saxophone, French horn. That's very impressive.
Thank you. There's also like ukulele and mandolin thrown in there somewhere. I've definitely went chronologically very out of order, but.
Yeah. So in Sleepless in Seattle, that was you on the guitar.
Mhm.
Yo, because I'm a sucker for some like guitar, like a guitar solo, and I remember, and some of the best I've heard have been from like 80s songs. So when I heard that, I was like, man, she's taking me back to like the 80s songs, like when you'd hear that bit of um guitar solo or a guitar interlude in some of them. I was like, man,
I'm so
that's some talent right there.
Thank you. No, I'm like the nostalgia queen. Like all of my playlists are just like incredibly specific nostalgic like genres. Like I have like a nostalgic dubstep. I have like my 90s to early 2000s pop. I have like my emo phase playlist. Like I love love pulling sounds from like all of my influences growing up, and like kind of making my own twist on them and like modernizing it.
And that is my next question. We all know that when you're in music, you have influences. Like when I was in my old music group, ours was like pretty much harmony groups. Like we sang like Boys to Men was ours.
I love it. Boys to Men, ABC. Hey, you'll have to send me the link. I want to hear your stuff.
I don't sing now, but I mean I I tend to, but back in the day, yeah, we were pretty impressive. We don't have any stuff like on video, but we sang stuff like from Boys to Men, Backstreet Boys, the early stuff,
Yeah.
98 Degrees,
Oh,
NSYNC,
stop it.
any group songs that were there that we could harmonize to, we harmonized to, and those
Nice.
were pretty much our influences. But what were yours? Like
Um,
to music and so on.
well, I've had a lot over the years. My very first ones, my parents had me listening to a lot of like Madonna. Actually, funnily enough, the Instagram little story clip that you posted, you did put an Utada Hikaru song, and she was like my childhood idol as a Japanese girl. Like I was so stoked that you put that on there. Like you didn't even know. Like that made me so happy. She is queen. She's like the Japanese Britney Spears for anybody that doesn't know. She is a legend.
I've heard of her. I was really trying to find that Sleepless in Seattle song, but we were trying to find it, but they had some instrumental. I was like, nah, man. Like I tried when we put like the songs on the stories for our guests, we try to find something that might something catchy, something cool, something that might possibly that guest might identify with.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like,
You were
we were
spot
like,
on.
yeah, we were like, should we do Sleepless in Seattle? And then we're like, nah, that the instrumental doesn't. We don't. There was her song. We were like, her song is not on her. Is not on Instagram Music. So I'm like,
Interesting. I'll have to figure out why that is. It should be on there. So thank you for letting me know.
so we were going to go with the instrumental. Then we were like, nah, this instrumental. And I think it was from the movie Sleepless in Seattle. So we're like, huh. And I was like, who is somebody? And I was like, who is somebody that? How like what can we put? And then we're like, she has pink hair. And then I'm like, yeah, she has pink hair. And like okay, Hikaru Utada had a song called Pink Blood, and I'm like, yeah, you can't go wrong with Hikaru Utada. You can never go wrong with her. So we're like, yeah, let's try it.
How did you find out about her? Just curious.
So I knew about her for a hot minute. I knew about her like since 2004.
I was gonna say, were you a Kingdom Hearts fan? Because I feel like that's how most of America kind of find out. Or did you listen to like Exodus, so that album?
So is that the one with Timbaland?
Yeah, I think she did some stuff with him.
That's how I found out about her because I remember they were talking about. I was like heavy into music. Like I was buying CDs every week,
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that they had an article that said she was attending college here in New York, where I lived at the time.
Yeah.
Um, and I was like, okay. And she's a big time singer going to heading to New York. She's attending college in New York. Okay, let me check her out. Liked her stuff, and that's how I heard. That's how I knew about her, was through that one article. And then I heard that she was doing something with Timbaland. She had her career in Japan, but she was trying to break out over here in America.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I found out about her.
Nice. That's what's up. Yeah, that's not something I get to bond with people very often. That's not an artist that a lot of people know about just because, like, the language barrier. And, like, I think now, especially with K-pop and stuff, that's different. I feel like a lot of Americans definitely have, like, their ears overseas and stuff like that, and they, like, don't let something like language stop you, which music is its own language, you know, and that's what's beautiful about it. Is, like, you don't even have to speak the language to feel it and, like, to know, like, the emotion behind the songs and stuff. Like, it's a really beautiful thing that's happening right now with the, like, globalization of everything.
So I don't know if you know this artist. There's an artist by the name of Wee Shung that is in K-pop, and he did a remix of one of my favorite artists' songs, Craig David.
Mm-hmm.
Craig David had a song called Insomnia, and he remixed it. And I was like, yo, it was in Korean, but it sounded just as awesome as Craig David's version, which was in English.
Mm-hmm.
I got the mashup, and that became one of my workout songs. I'm like, yo, this is awesome. So yeah, it's always great to I always say it's always great to adventure. If you're into music, it's always great to check out other genres. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I grew up in Guyana, born and raised, but
Mm-hmm.
obviously, and I mean, my upbringing was mostly like R&B and reggae.
Mm-hmm.
But eventually, when I became like more of a teenager, I got into like hip hop. And
Mm-hmm.
one point, I had a reggaeton phase where I was like, I listened to a lot of reggaeton.
That's fun.
Um, I just got into to different types of genres, and it's I love it all.
Yeah, me too, me too. I'm like, I joke that I've had every sort of phase under the sun. Actually, my two bandmates, they play a lot of like Afrobeat and stuff music too. So I've like grown a lot as a musician in terms of like playing with other people, but just even as a listener, like just I had a country phase, I had an emo phase, I've had a pop phase. Like I had an Eminem phase when I was like 12. I was talking with my friends about like they should have a study done on all of us who were listening to like completely inappropriate music way too early and like how it may or may not have affected us mentally slightly, just a little bit.
Eminem wasn't that bad. I mean, Eminem,
I don't know what Eminem songs you were listening to, but
okay. So he just had a story to tell, and he just like wanted to make sure that people heard it. That's just my thing about him.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, he definitely was a vibe. I definitely I still enjoy his type of music. He's just funny and whatnot too. The
Yeah.
way he tells some of his stories.
I think maybe because I was like kind of later to the game, because I don't know, I'm 27, so I think I didn't find out about him until like 2007-ish probably. So I think those right around like the relapse era when he's like singing about like killing his wife and shit. So I don't know if I just caught like the more problematic Slim Shady or what, but
Yeah, yeah, he definitely broke the mold, and I've always enjoyed his music.
yeah,
Um,
nothing but respect for him. Like he's a classic, absolutely.
yeah, 27. Wow, whatever you're doing, keep it up.
Thank you.
I honestly thought you were. So when I first saw her, I was like, wait a minute, I'm like, she looked like 19, 18. And I was like, well, she's in a bar. She obviously can't be that age. I would have never guessed. Whatever you're doing, keep it up.
Thank you. I drink a lot of water, clearly. Sunshine, if you see this, sponsor me.
Ooh, okay.
I have no other secrets other than that. Nothing to it. Nothing to it.
So with the music, have you ever gotten to like perform your song on tour?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, so I did a tour at the beginning of this year. I did like a little Pacific Northwest thing. I drove my own little Subaru all the way up to like Bellingham, like pretty much to Canada, and then back down and like all through Oregon, all through Washington. I am obsessed with that corridor of the United States. It is by far the prettiest thing I've ever seen.
okay.
There's nothing like it. I don't know. I'm from Colorado originally, so seeing all of like the Puget Sound and like those massive bodies of water was just insane to me, and I love water, so it's just really really pretty, and the crowds are amazing. That I got to meet a bunch of really cool people, played a bunch of like bars and stuff, and it was really fun.
Colorado.
I'm an independent musician, so getting to do that stuff was really fun. It was kind of like my first venture out into the world, like shows wise, like tour wise.
Yeah, hopefully you get to like go to more states and
Absolutely, it's definitely on the list. Like,
hopefully
I
you
feel
get
like
to
I'm just
go
getting
like
started.
Texas and then the Midwest and then East Coast here and
Yeah.
um,
Maybe
definitely.
not in my car, maybe on like a tour bus though.
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, I ended up sleeping in my car in like 7-degree weather and on that little tour. So, hopefully we get to like upgrade the digs next time around. But
Denver. What? So you're from Denver or Littleton, Aurora?
Littleton specifically,
Okay.
also called Shittleton or Little Fun if you're from there.
The only thing I know about Littleton, and this is just
I mean, I already know what you're gonna say. I think
really,
I don't know. Surprise me. I'm assuming you're gonna talk about Columbine, but I don't know.
yeah,
You could,
that's
yeah.
that's the only thing I know, and that was the trap. That was a trap. I actually had a friend that was actually born around there too. Yeah, that was crazy. But on a lighter note, I've been to Denver before. Beautiful place,
Mhm.
cool people. I've been to the Ballpark Hall of Fame. Um, that's not too far from I think Coors Field,
I
which is
had no idea that was even there.
yeah. I didn't either, but I looked at what was it the little trip app,
Oh, TripAdvisor or something?
Trip Advisor. Yeah, that's the one. I saw that, and finding how I end up in Denver. I'm a weirdo like this. I'm like, I have a feeling Denver has some of the best diners, and I could get a great diner burger in Denver. And
There's
lo and behold, I end up jumping on a flight.
just because of a burger. I mean, I can't blame you. I drove to California for fish tacos when I lived in Denver, so I cannot blame you at all.
Yeah, I do stuff like that sometimes. I was like, and I was curious about it too. So I was like, yeah, let me hop over to Denver. And so I got on the plane and end up there. I got my burger and I got to see
Yeah,
what
do
else.
you remember?
Your pardon?
Do you remember which diner you went to?
I do not. I think it was called Number Sam's.
Ah, that's exactly where you needed to go. Good job. You do have a good eye for food.
I think it's Sam's. I think it's Sam's, but
That
yeah.
place is legit.
Um,
Anything smothered in green chili there is it's so good.
I forgot what I had. What I had. I know it was a burger, but I forgot what it was. But
I'm sure it was good. That place is phenomenal.
yeah, and then I kind of got like a bit of a New York vibe from there too. I'm a city boy, so if you throw me in the city, I'm home there.
Hmm.
Yes, this is me.
Don't take you skiing if you go to Colorado, is what you're saying. You're not one of those people that would want to go hiking.
Oh, no, 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 no. I'll try snowboarding. I'll try skiing, preferably in an open area, not where there's any trees, because I don't think I'm skilled enough to, dodge a tree and
Step
whatnot.
one is learning how to stop. So that
Yeah,
doesn't
pretty
happen.
much. But yeah, I'll try skiing. I'll even try skydiving. I want to try skydiving. Skydiving is something I want to try too.
That one's a little too adrenaline junky for me, but I respect it.
Yeah, I always wanted to do it. I'm kind of like adventurous like that. But yeah, Colorado is definitely nice. I'll try to go back there eventually. I didn't know there was like a whole free bus there. Y'all have like a 8th Street bus going up and down free. I'm like, wow, okay, I could dig this.
Yeah, I think that's only in certain parts, but yeah, the public transportation's not too bad there. It's definitely not like on New York's level, but it's not bad. It's better than here, that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So in terms of so sleepers in Seattle,
Yeah.
um, what was your like, if you don't mind me asking, what was your like your whole like inspiration for that, if you don't mind me asking? Because like I said, I had a song that I wrote one time many years ago, and it was pretty much like when I was a teen, and it was like experiencing teen love. It was like
Mm.
you have this crush on this girl, and then she calls you one day, and she tells you that she feels the same way about you,
Oh,
and,
cute.
you're professing like all I want is you so you're pretty much saying like all I want is you, and that was a song that we all in the group like had a hand in writing, and that was like how we were feeling like, yeah, we got this one girl, and we just want to talk, we just want to like, we like her, but we didn't know she liked us, and now she like took.
Terrible situation right now. Or is this just talking about the song? The way you phrase that, you're like, oh well, she might like us, but we.
So what was your inspiration behind Sleepless in Seattle?
So I originally, the way I write, I find a lot of inspiration just by traveling. Like I'll write just like kind of like poetic details about like things I see or like how the weather is, or like I'll just be like randomly inspired, you know. So I had this idea for wanting to just write a song called Sleepless in Seattle because I thought it was just like it's just such a dope city, and like to be in love there, and like I don't know, I think I over romanticized it in my head a little bit, but that's what the start of it was. So I had that idea a few years back, and then I actually ended up finishing the song after going up there on tour in January. The basic premise for the song, at first, when I had that first idea, I had the idea of it kind of being like a reconciling a relationship type of thing. So like I want to like be in Seattle and like try again type of thing. But it ends up kind of morphing into this like falling in love, but like kind of having the brakes on and like realizing, especially like I think a lot of my own like attachment issues I think came through in that song of like, oh, I like you a lot, but I don't want to like you too much. Like let me pull back, like let me play it cool, let me not like be all in all at once. And that's kind of the premise of it.
Wow, that's definitely a phenomenal song. I definitely like it. Like I said, I still can't get the hook out of my head. I want to be sleepless in Seattle with you, and I'm like, yeah, this is definitely going on my playlist. I'm definitely gonna be listening to that.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And there's not a lot of songs that can get me to be like, yo, this is dope. Like I heard your like, and how I first heard it was I heard your acoustic rendition of it. You were
Nice.
playing the keyboard, and I was like, yo, this song is
Literally
a,
right here.
you know what I'm saying? And then
Mm-hmm.
it's about Seattle too, and I've always been curious about Seattle because that's the one city one of the cities I've been curious about that I've never gone to.
Mm-hmm.
The other is San Francisco,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I want to go. Everything I heard about Seattle is great. I never heard a bad thing about Seattle.
Have you been to Portland though? Because as a foodie, I think that would take precedence. So I mean,
Let me
San Francisco is great for food, and then Seattle's food scene is good too. But Portland's food is like,
let me guess. You're gonna tell me about Voodoo Donut, aren't you?
no. So they have a Voodoo in Denver, and low-key, I think they're overrated. No tea, no like no shade, nothing like that. Like they're good for like a crazy donut, and like I love their ones that are like dipped in tang. But like in terms of like a good donut, there's better places, I think. But like they definitely have kooky donuts and they're fun. But no, Portland's about the food carts. That's where they're. Oh my god, they're so good. I could talk for hours. There's so much good food there.
So yeah, actually, you know what? Yeah, come think of Portland's another city I want to visit because Portland's talking. They say Portland's a city of weird, and I happen to live in Brooklyn, New York,
Which
and
is also so weird in its own right. Like New York is an experience in and of itself.
so I want to see what the weird is in Portland because I'm like, yeah, it can't be weirder than New York. I've seen some things. I'm like, yeah, I saw a whole guy in a dog costume on a leash being led in there by a woman, and he was giving him, I think, a dog treat. I think it was a dog treat, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think they could beat this. I don't think anybody could beat this. This is some New York stuff that.
You know what I think it is? I think there's in New York, there's more specific instances of really weird, and it's like one-off people that are really weird in New York. But I feel like the general vibe of Portland's like kind of kooky and just like a little bit like. I mean, I want to like placate the people there, and they're all very nice, and they're not like weird, but like the vibe of the city is definitely like kind of like more so like Boulder in Colorado. If you've been, like they're kind of always known to be like a little bit just. Not what you'd expect, not what you want them to be, you know what I mean? And I always respect, like, I have pink flippin' hair. Like, I always respect, like, self-expression and people that are really true to who they are. And I think you definitely get elements of that in New York, but it's a different kind of weird in Portland. Definitely.
Seattle's another one I'm curious about. Never heard a bad thing except that it rains a lot, which and I'm like, okay, I don't mind rain. I love
I've
rain.
heard that it's never rained a single flippin' time I'm in Seattle, so I want a refund. I'm like, I always tend to bring the sunny weather there every time I go for whatever reason.
Yeah, and then another one of my favorite musicians, Owl City. He's from there too.
Oh, he is? I had no idea. Wow.
Yeah, Fireflies is one of my favorite. Is one of my guilty pleasures. Like I think it's a cool song.
It's a million fireflies.
Yeah,
It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
and I think that I always hear that song and I'm like, that song reminds me of a guy. Like once again, like the song that my band and I wrote. Like it's like a guy who wants to like an intellectual guy. I don't want to say nerd, but an intellectual, highly intellectual guy that
Nice way
doesn't
of putting it.
know how to express himself like the cool way, like, "Hey, yo, shot, you look good, world, yo, what's up?" Like the only way you can say it is in a like a poetic, intellectual, like smart kind of way to her. That's what that song like speaks to me as for some reason. I don't know.
I'll have
Maybe
to
I'm
look back over. It's been years since I've really like analyzed the lyrics of that song or like even heard it. Actually, you know, there was some song that I think Owl City remixed just this last year that I was so shook that I was hearing Owl City in the year 2022. I don't remember what song it is. It was one of his newer remixes he just released, so I'm just happy to see he's still out like putting music and stuff.
yeah. I'll say it's good music. He did a great song with Carly Rae Jepsen, another person that I enjoy listening to.
Oh my god, can we just talk about how Emotion is like the most perfect pop album to ever exist? Like that, there's no
Is that,
skips on
the-
that album.
is that the one with Call Me Maybe?
Classic.
The one that gets the song that really makes me want to get up and dance is I really like you. The music video with Tom Hanks.
Mm.
For
That's
some
my
reason that
birthday
song.
twin.
Beg your pardon?
Yeah, Tom Hanks is my birthday twin. We're both born on July 9th. Fun fact.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks is great. Definitely a great actor. Always enjoyed his movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, that song, that's another great song that I enjoy for her as well. But yeah, Seattle, I'm definitely curious as to how it is, and I'm definitely gonna make that journey happen one of these days.
And you'll have to bump Sleepless in Seattle while you're there, please. Just have cement that song with that city in your brain like that for me, please.
I probably will. I'll be on my Instagram like, hey, Chisa, yeah, I'm here.
Sleepless in Seattle, what's up?
Yeah. So I just got a few more questions before we shut it down. So
Sure. I mean, I got all night. We've been talking way more than 15 minutes, and I hope that's okay. I hope I'm not like infringing on your night or nothing.
no, 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 that's all like in so 15 minutes of fandom thing. It's not actually 15 minutes. It's like all in the wording. Like
it's a
description.
suggestion.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty
know.
much. Yeah. So you're going on tour now. You're doing your thing in the Pacific Northwest. You've gone to several states. I know you're gonna make it to the Midwest. I know you're gonna make it to Texas and the East Coast. You know, trust me, it's gonna happen. But what are some countries you'd actually like to perform in as an artist?
I think Japan first and foremost, just because like my grandparents live there, and it'd be cool for them to see me. They only knew me as like a 6-year-old child. Like when I went back there right before COVID, my grandma actually walked right past me. She didn't even recognize me as an adult. So yeah, I think it'd be cool for them to see me in my full-fledged adult expression. Where else would I want to go? I would just love an excuse to go back to Greece. That's some of the best food and like most beautiful scenery I've ever seen.
Santorini?
Huh?
Santorini?
Yeah, Santorini was cool. I actually enjoyed like the smaller islands the most, and Athens. Athens is a really, really cool city.
Okay.
I just loved all the history there, and that's like my favorite thing about Europe, I think, is like just the history that's there, and you can feel how old the place is and like know that these buildings have been there since like the 1500s, if not earlier. Like it's just crazy. So yeah, that's my two countries I think would be first on my list.
Man, I could imagine you going back to Japan. You'll be like, Japan!
I'm like, give me all the food right now.
Japan! Konnichiwa! Oh, Genki desu! Probably like, Genki desu!
God, your Japanese is so good. I'm shook.
Watashi wa Chisa desu, and
You
you'll be
might
like,
know more Japanese than me at this point. I'm actually really impressed. You must watch like anime or something.
no, no. So when I went to Japan, we had a bit of a I guess sort of an indoctrination phrase where they actually taught us a couple of phrases, and I learned some on my own too. And um, they took us around like nearby places where our base was, so I got to experience a bit of the culture and everything.
Yeah, which thank you for your service, by the way. That's actually how my dad met my mom. He was in the Navy stationed in Yokosuka, and that's how they met.
Your dad was in Yokosuka. He was living the life. I wanted. I was like, I want to be in Yokosuka, man. Like, yeah, I mean, Sasebo was nice. It was quiet, but I'm like, Yokosuka, right smack dab next to Tokyo.
Like right in
Every
the
weekend
way right
and a half off, Tokyo was right there. Man, I always enjoyed going to Tokyo. But Osaka was always special to me. I liked Osaka more. Tokyo was fun but expensive, but Osaka was even more fun and cheaper.
A little bit more country, a little bit more laid back, but still like city vibes for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's awesome that your dad uh, t- thank you for his service because I mean I know it wasn't easy too being over being away from family and whatnot, serving the country and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's how I learned certain phrases and some I actually looked up on my own and
I respect it. I respect it. I mean, it was a very pleasant surprise. I was not expecting to hear not only that you knew who Tada Hikaru was, but like also that you like have almost near flawless like Japanese. Like, I was not expecting that.
I'm still trying to learn more. So I'm gonna go back there eventually. It's like one of my favorite countries to go to. That one of my favorite countries I've ever visited, and it's funny because I live in New York, lived in Florida. I've been in Texas for 6 months. I was in California for a year and a month, and I was in Chicago for a bit,
Mm.
near Chicago. And I was like, okay, I've seen it all. There's nothing that can actually surprise me. And then I guess stationed in Japan, and I guess
That's about as weird as it gets, like culture shock wise.
yeah, and they're like, Remy, you haven't seen everything yet. We're gonna
Not.
tell you something. Like even the fast food looked like how it actually was
But
in the pictures, and
Japanese comfort food is unparalleled. Anything like seven, like honestly, the gas stations are where it's at. If you like, that is there's like a video of like I think Gordon Ramsay or some, but it's not Gordon. It's Anthony Bourdain, I think, was in Japan. He makes it a point to go to a Lawson's gas station and get an egg sandwich. Like it's like straight up like a 7-Eleven over there. But their gas station food is so good. I dream about those sandwiches. Like
yeah, my favorite ones at the Lawsons were it was the rice with the fish inside, the tuna fish, I think.
yeah, delicious.
And I was like, wow. And how it's funny because California has some elements of um Asian influence as well too. And that's where I had my first one of those sandwiches. It was actually in California, back from LA. And another thing, did you used to watch Heroes?
I watched the TV show that came on like before it, so I always caught like snippets of it, but I never fully watched it. But Hayden Panettiere is a goddess.
Do you remember the guy Hero? The one Asian guy with the glasses.
Mm.
So he had a thing he would go and say "Yata," and I was like, okay, that must be his own thing. And I was like, it sounds cool, like "Yata," you know what I'm saying? And
And then you're like, wait a second, that's actually a Japanese word.
yeah, and I remember I was helping these two girls like get train tickets. They were from Japan. They were in America.
Did you
And
drop that on them?
when I was finally able to help them, they were like "Yata," and
You're like, I know the word.
I was like, wait, that's an actual word? And they hugged me right there and then, like a total stranger. Like they hugged me. I'm like, oh, okay, wow. That's the thing I like about Japan. Like they're like, for the most part, most of the people I've met, friendly, courteous.
That's good.
Like it just like brings out like a whole like new side of you. Like this place is awesome. Nobody bothers you. Nobody messes with you. Everybody's just calm and chill. And
I'm glad you had a good experience though, because honestly, like I've heard different things sometimes about like being like not Japanese there, like especially like as like a black person. Like I've heard experiences of them like being
so
stared at. So I'm glad you had a good experience.
So in regards to that, we've actually the places I've encountered, they have actually that don't serve anybody else but Japanese.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's pretty much my theory is it's either okay, yeah, because they want to serve their own people.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm like, okay, well, if you don't want me there, I'm not gonna be there. I'm gonna go where I'm celebrated, not where I'm tolerated.
Yeah.
Um, and another thing is that um, with from what I've seen, the Japanese people, they I'm sure you noticed too. Actually, whatever they do with pride. They like to do everything, give everything 100%. So I've went to a couple establishments where they've said we don't serve foreigners due to the language barrier. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, I understand that. I respect it. I'll go somewhere else. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it is what it is. But yeah, I had a pretty good time. I mean,
Okay, good. I mean, like, I don't think it's like a place where you'd like get jumped just for being like black, but I've heard that people like stare at anybody that they were like, oh, you definitely don't belong. Like, you're not from
oh
here.
no, no, no. I've met a lot. I've met Japanese women that have dated like solely black guys. I've met one that she dated so many black guys. This is gonna be funny. That she was like, "You black? Like, what are you? What are you?" I'm like, "I'm black." She's like, "No, no, no. You're mixed with something." I'm like, huh?
You're
But
like, oh, excuse me.
technically, she's kind of right. My mom is black and East Indian. My dad is black and Native American Venezuelan. But I know go with black because I want to explain all that stuff. And she's like, "No, you're mixed with something." I'm like, "Okay, oh,
You're like, I don't self-identify, but yeah, sure, I guess.
yeah." So my last question, um,
Hit me.
in terms of the music, who would you want to collaborate with? Like,
That's such a hard question because I love so many artists and would kill for a chance to be in a room with any of them. I think my number one answer would be Sylvan Esso, though. I love, love, love Amelia's voice, and Nick Sanborn's production is just like so, so, so cool. And I think what they do artistically together is amazing. I don't know if you know Sylvan Esso at all, but she's like a folk singer and he's like an EDM producer, and together they just make magic. Like, you need to go listen to the first album as soon as we hang up because they're so good.
so you're telling me folk and EDM are mashed up together?
Yeah, and she's got two side projects. She's in this band called the A's, which just the vocal harmonies she does with the people that she collaborates with are so good. But
Wow.
Sylvan Esso is their project specifically where it gets like a little bit more electronic-y. And they actually headlined Electric Forest last year. They're getting pretty big. I've been following them since their like first album, so it's cool to see them like progress. They had a Grammy nom somewhere along the way. Like they're doing pretty good. But that's my number one because I just think we could do something really cool. I love vocal harmonies. She loves vocal harmonies. He loves producing vocal harmonies by the sounds of it. And I think we could make some dope stuff.
That's cool. I definitely hope you get that chance. I'll be like, yeah, she did it. She did it.
I'm manifesting it, putting it up there.
Yeah, but I've had several that I've wanted to collaborate with. When I was into music, I'd say Seal is one of them. Seal has one of my all-time favorite tracks. It's called Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, he's one of them. I've always said another one would be Lenny Kravitz. Um, the reason with him is another thing is because growing up, I was kind of ashamed to be black and listening to rock, and that was my own. That was my own ignorance because I didn't know that the first rock recordings were done by a group of black
Sister
people.
Rosetta Thorpe, yeah. I mean, come on, all music is derived from you guys. I don't hate to admit it, but like I love to admit it because it's true and it should be admitted more that like a lot of white musicians capitalize off of stuff that black people were doing first. Sorry. Like let's
But
run the flowers where it's due.
but when I saw like when I heard "Fly Away" by Lenny Kravitz, I was like, wait a minute. I saw him like, wait a minute. I didn't even see him because how I found out about him was through this radio station called Rick D's, this radio show, Rick D's Weekly Top 40, and Fly Away was being played. And he was like, Rick D's, the host was like, yes, Fly Away, done by Lenny Kravitz, the son of Roxy Roker. I'm like, wait a minute, Roxy Roker, aka Helen Willis from the Jeffersons, she's black. That means Lenny's black. That means, yo,
I'm like, wait a
you're a rock
second,
star.
no, wait a minute, I don't have to feel bad about this anymore. I love that he helped you move past that because honestly, genre shouldn't have any sort of like racial barriers. I've like really struggled with this idea of like, especially like it's a whole nother like rabbit hole we could go down, the idea of like self-internalized racism and like the standards and things like that we hold ourselves to as people of color, you know what I mean? Like we have an experience that's universal to like each and every person ultimately, and so it's good to be able to move past those things because music is something that should be enjoyed by everybody.
Yeah, it definitely should. It really and truly should. Yeah, so he was definitely one of my inspirations. But then at the same time, it's funny because I was listening to this song called was it Purple Haze? The song by Jimi Hendrix. I keep forgetting it. I know it as Kiss the Sky when he's like, "Excuse me while I kiss the sky," and that was one of my favorite songs. And I didn't even know Jimi Hendrix was a black guy that sang it. So I'm like, wow, this is
I'm amazed that you didn't know. I feel like I've always known, but I guess when they're coming out, you might not have known, or like, you know, when you first came across those things, or like heard them on the radio. How are you supposed to know, right? Exactly. Like that's the thing, you can't tell. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, honestly, she said it was great talking to you. I
likewise, this is really fun. Thank you for having me. I know it was super last minute, but I appreciate you tuning into Barmageddon. I appreciate you streaming Sleepless in Seattle. You seem like a really dope person. Hit me up if you're in LA or like Colorado ever. Love to go, you know, have some foodie fun.
yeah,
I think we'd be friends.
yeah, yeah. Definitely appreciate it. If you're ever in New York, yo, let me know. Hit me up. You know,
Oh my god, I
we'll
gotta take you to Palm Frites. You have to try these French fries, bro. Like if you have to with the curry ketchup. Oh, it's so good.
curry ketchup.
Curry
Okay.
ketchup with the onions. They put like diced onions on top. It's so good, dude. I swear to God, these are the best French fries I've ever had in my life. I dream about them. I get them every time I go to New York.
Yeah, whenever you're back here, let me know. We'll definitely, catch some lunch.
For sure.
Maybe we'll actually.
I'd love to come back and hopefully I'll know more about wrestling next time so we can maybe hop back on and talk about wrestling instead of music because I know you're a wrestling podcast, but
Trust me, I love music just as much. You're in SoCal, right?
yeah.
I would definitely recommend. There's a promotion called what was it? Championship Wrestling from Hollywood.
Mm.
I don't know if they still have it, but they had it down there in California. They have it's like so there's WB and AEW, and then there's also indie wrestling, which is like before they get to the big time.
Yeah.
Which you see a lot of future stars from
Come
those promotions. So championship wrestling from
watch the
Hollywood.
matches here? Is that what you
Wait, pardon?
do they have matches here? Is that what you're saying? Because I feel like that'd be so fun to go see.
Yeah, they have shows and everything there too.
Wow.
Yeah, and AEW is going over to San Francisco. I know San Francisco, NorCal, but they have a show, I think, at the Cow Palace. I believe that's in San Francisco.
Mm.
So they have a show over there too as well. But yeah, there's a lot of great wrestling out there.
In like a year from now and see how much more I've learned about wrestling.
But yeah, so yeah, like I said, whenever you're over in New York, let me know. We'll go get some lunch. If you want to do that collaboration, I mean, I'll tune up the voice.
I gotta get you singing again. I'm so down. Listen, everybody needs a creative outlet. I strongly believe that.
Yeah, definitely. So before we shut this show down, where can fans find you on social media when they want to hear more of your music? And where can concert promoters find you when they want to book you for shows all over the country, if not all over the world?
Well, I have a website. It should be chisamusic.net. Most of my music is all on Spotify and YouTube and Apple. It's just under Chisa. That's my artist name. I should go for Chisa. But my Instagram handle is Chisa Marie. And yeah, that's where you can find me. And yeah.
Awesome. So y'all heard, she's definitely on social media. That's her social media. Go ahead and follow this young lady. She's doing a lot of great things. And that way when you see her performing at the big concerts, you're like, yeah, I actually used to follow her before she got the big time.
I saw that girl. She'd be really good at cornhole on Barmageddon.
Yeah. So y'all definitely give her a follow. She's doing great things. Make sure you check out Sleepless in Seattle. It's a great tune. I wouldn't lie to y'all. I personally like it. I still got the hook in my head. Sleepless in Seattle. I
Oh, we
mean,
gotta do a remix. We have to do a remix. I'm gonna put you. You gotta write some bars for me on that.
yeah. So definitely check it out. It's a great song. If you want something different, you know. And I'm for those of y'all that don't know, I'm also a fool for indie artists. I like their stuff that's not on the radio because you never know what you might hear. So
I
definitely give
think
her a
that's good
follow.
somewhere.
Yeah, yeah, definitely show your support, and that's all I gotta say for that. But if y'all want to follow me on social media, not that I have anything cool to say, but who knows? Maybe you'll hear me say something cool. You can find me on Twitter at the Remy Blue. You can also find me on Instagram at the Remy Blue, and I'm also on Facebook under the alias. You guessed it, Remy Blue. So you can find me on there. Our podcast is also on social media. We're on Twitch at Ringside Society 2019, Instagram and Twitter at Ringside Society. We're for some reason we're on Hive. I don't know why we're on Hive,
I
but
don't even know what that
Ringside
is.
Society. We're on Spotify. We're also on. We also have a Teespring store where we sell official Ringside Society merch. We have T-shirts, tank tops, hoodies, long sleeve shirts. We even have coffee mugs for your favorite warm beverage. And we're also on Facebook as a Facebook group. And last but not least, we also have a YouTube channel where we have cool episodes like this one and many other episodes as well that you can definitely check out at your leisure. All you gotta do is go on YouTube, type in Ringside Society, and once you see that beautiful, handsome, dark blue and light blue yin yang sound with the blue flames around it, that's when you know it's us. So make sure you subscribe to all our videos because we got a lot of cool stuff coming up, and you don't want to miss a thing like Aerosmith in 1998. But
Don't miss a thing.
there you go. But with that being said, we just want to thank everybody that tuned in live tonight.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. To those y'all that are gonna listen later on when you get a chance, thank you very much in advance. And those y'all that hate us, can't stand us, really and truly wish we'd go away. Well, like myself at a Golden Corral, we're not going anywhere for a while. With that being said, um,
You're so funny.
we just want to let everybody know that we're very well aware that everybody and their grandparents and the parents of a podcast. But we're not your grandparents' podcast. We're not your parents' podcast, and we're definitely not just any podcast. Hashtag we are not the same. With that being said, I'm gonna say it one time for the mind, one time for the people, one time for the wrestling culture, and one time for the ever so talented man. She's gonna be a hit when y'all watch her. She's gonna blow up. Ever so talented Chisa with the Wrestling Fans Podcast, Ringside Society. And with that being said, we'll be back this weekend with another impressive guest on another impressive episode. But until then, we just want y'all to do four favors to us. Just four simple favors. Stay safe, stay healthy, be excellent to each other, and party on, dudes. We out. Peace.
Bye.